The Sox have seen their final sunrise in Arizona. It's the Cactus League finale today as the Sox take on the San Diego Padres, and it's brought to you by
Canals Auto Park.
Glad to have you along, Jason Benetti, rejoined by Steve Stone in a moment. The Sox center field battle was intriguing all throughout training camp, and you look at what the Sox decided to do. Peter Bourjos was traded to Tampa Bay, and so at the end of spring training, the guy left standing in center field seems to be young Jacob May, ready to make his major league debut after a great spring training.
Well, you see just a wonderful catch right there against the Dodgers, and Jacob earned it. He had a good spring in every facet of the game. Plus, he brings a switch hitter to the lineup. As you can see, hitting .349, he scored 11 runs, which is something that they expect him to do. He stole 4 bases, and his OPS is just absolutely terrific. So he earned the spot. It wasn't won by default. You have to congratulate Jacob May, and I'm sure he's absolutely ecstatic.
He's ecstatic. We are likely to be joined by him at some point during the broadcast today. He's not in the lineup. Meantime, on the mound for the Sox, Dylan Covey is the starter.
He really has a chance, and this is a big outing for him. He was drafted as a Rule 5 draft from Oakland, and Covey, who was drafted out of college, chose not to sign, then eventually did sign with the Athletics. And as a Rule 5 draft, he's a guy that came over, not expecting too much, but he has an opportunity because of the injury to Carlos Rodon. So hopefully Covey will have a good game today. I know that he's pointing to this one, and for us, spring training will end after this, except for one more game, that in Milwaukee.
Sox will say farewell to Arizona after 9 innings today. Beautiful sunshine here at the ballpark. We'll get 9 innings worth coming up after this. The farewell weather at Camelback Ranch is lovely as always. Sox and Padres in the final game here in the Cactus League for the White Sox this season, trying to take out the Padres, who are 11-20 this year in spring training. Sox are 16-15, discluding ties. Angels are 18-13. Sox are 2 games out of first place in the Cactus League. The trophy is up for grabs between the Angels and the Mariners.
Very difficult to get it back on the plane with you because one of those Saguaro Cactus, which is the trophy, is well upwards of a few thousand pounds. But a trophy that's coveted by all.
You don't want it to fall on you after it's been jostled in the overhead compartment.
True.
Starting lineup for you. Let's do that. It's written out by Andy Green in his second year as the manager of the San Diego Padres. A lot of young talent here. Travis Jankowski, the center fielder. Corey Spangenberg at second. Then Will Myers, the first baseman, well-traveled early in his career. Ryan Schimpf, Hunter Renfroe, Austin Hedges, a young catcher. Jabari Blash, who's hit the ball very hard in spring training. Eric Ibar, the veteran. And Jolice Chassin is the pitcher.
Let's take a look at the defense and how they're going to line up. Behind Dylan Covey, it's Melky Cabrera, Yuri Garcia in center field, Abisail Garcia in right. Then it's Frazier, Anderson, Saladino, and Abreu in the infield. Kevin Smith with a nod behind the plate, and Dylan Covey on the hill in what for him is a huge outing. There you look at the numbers. This is his 4th start, his 9th game overall. The ERA not what he would like. A lot of hits per innings pitched. And they like the fact that his stuff is a whole lot better when he stays over the top. The Sox prefer him as a starting pitcher as opposed to a pensman. And so that's what he's competing for in this situation.
And part of the reason for that is Carlos Rodon, as you said in our open. Carlos Rodon dealing with bursitis in his left bicep, so likely to start the season on the disabled list. The Sox may need somewhere between 1 and 2 games worth of starting pitching, at least as they see it right now. Rodon had the second opinion. Everything looked pretty much the same as the first MRI, so Covey is pitching for one of those spots, you'd imagine. And
you really don't know, with the iffy weather that we experience in the Midwest during the spring, you really don't know how many rainouts there's going to be. We do know there is 4 off days in April, a radical departure from the one last year. And so a chance to start it off in this, the swan song for spring training. And Jankowski, who is a master defender, shows in spring training he can hit the baseball. .339 for the former first-round pick back in 2012. And we, with this pitch from Covey, are off and running in this spring training finale. You mentioned the schedule. The longest run of games in April this year for the Sox without an off day is 9. On the ground, Saladino slides after it and safe. Well, Tyler thought the only way that he could stop and get the throw off was to slide, but by sliding, he's not able to get a good strong throw off. Nice pick on the other end by Jose, but they can't get it there in time.
So Jankowski safe, and Corey Spangenberg, another former first-round pick. That was 6 years ago, back in 2011. Back-to-back lefties to start. 3 out of 4 lefties to open for the Padres. It's a prelude of a series scheduled for Guaranteed Rate Field the 12th through the 14th of May. Sox and Padres will play as the Sox see the NL West this year. (2-0) on Spangenberg.
Kevin Smith is going out there to tell him to stay closed. Anytime you fly open with that lead shoulder, you're going to leave the ball high and away to left-hand hitters. Best way to do that is to attempt, and you can't do this, but attempt to hit your chin with your left shoulder if you're a right-hand pitcher. If you do that, if you make the attempt, you're going to stay closed longer. Consequently, you're going to give your arm a chance to catch up. When you open up, your arm can't catch up. Usually it dips, and more times than not, the ball stays high and away, and that's what Kevin is out there explaining to him. Stay closed and get the ball over the plate and probably leave him with the thing. Throw a ground ball, we'll get to.
So what are we watching here as he pitches?
We'll see where the ball goes, assuming it's a fastball.
It's up and in and fouled away by Spangenberg.
Yeah, that a little better, so he made the correction, and although he's not an older pitcher, he's still not a very young pitcher. So he's able to do this. A lot of pitchers, once they fall into some sort of problem with their release point, can't really get it back until it's too late.
25 years old, Covey, in his 5th season in pro ball. Jankowski's off, and Spangenberg sprays it foul. No shortage of letters early in the Padres lineup.
No, and you should have seen the spelling of Schimpf before he changed it. No, that's it.
Was it Jumbo?
Oh, no, that's Ozaki. Terrific golfer, by the way.
2-2 on Spangenberg. Padres have gone over a decade without making the playoffs. Last they made it, they lost in the division series back in 2006. That was Bruce Bochy's final season as the manager before Bud Black took over. And you look, the last 7 years, according to wins above replacement, at the best player for the Padres the last 7 years has been a different guy each of the last 7 years. Drew Pomerantz, Justin Upton, Seth Smith, Chris Denorfia, Chase Headley, Cameron Maben, and then Adrian Gonzalez prior to his Dodger days.
The Padres are in the middle of a teardown and rebuild. This is the second year of that total rebuild, and they're hoping that they've got enough young players to carry them through and get competitive.
Runners off, Spangenberg in the air, left center field. Garcia at the warning track for out number 1.
I think we're seeing exactly how much the wind is going to affect things today, because it's blowing straight out toward left center field. That was a routine fly ball that kept on drifting. So you get the ball up in the air today, and for Covey, who's thrown a lot of high fastballs, that might not be a good sign. There you see the flags, and Liuri, with plenty of room, makes the play. And this is the one, and you would classify at this point Will Myers as a star. He's the one star on this team as far as the lineup is concerned.
All-star debut last year, and the home run numbers were gaudy. 28 of them for Will Myers last season. First-time All-Star last year, Will Myers. By way of Kansas City and Tampa Bay.
Well, he was really the principal in the deal, in the James Shields deal. And, you know, he's kind of had can't miss written all over him, but things didn't work out very well the early portion of his career before finally coming alive with Tampa Bay. As you can see, 25 plus stolen bases last year, and Will Myers among the best in the business with Betts and Trout. In fact, anytime you're on a list, especially if it's an offensive list, and Mookie Betts is there with Mike Trout, you got to figure you're in pretty good company.
And nobody really heard about it. Big baseball fans hear about it, but in San Diego, with the Padres struggling last year to the tune of 94 losses, he didn't get the same type of run.
He had so many injuries earlier in his career that it limited his play in the outfield. The surprising thing, and I think the Padres are absolutely enamored with the fact that he made such a wonderful transition to first base. Everybody assumes, well, if a guy can't play, put him at first base. You're involved in too many plays if you're a liability defensively and you're going to play first base. Myers does it well.
Can save a lot of runs playing first. That was very close on Jankowski.
Good solid throw. Just missed as the hand got in before the tag.
Dylan Covey, Rule 5 pick, and for folks uninitiated on the Rule 5 draft, if you're taken in the Major League portion of the Rule 5 draft, you've got to make the roster and stay there in order to not be sent back to your prior team.
That's really, it's not a problem if you make the team definitively. It is a tough decision. That decision is, if you really like the guy, and you must have liked him somewhat because you drafted him in the Rule 5, that means he was dropped from 40-man or not on the 40-man. You drafted him on the Major League roster. You have to keep him, or you have to offer him back. More times than not, if he has some value, you offer him back for half the price, which is a key, then he'll go back.
Yeah, they'll take him.
Yep.
3-1. Myers a bid to center field. Garcia's back there at the warning track and the wall, and it's gone.
Fourth home run of the spring, 8th and 9th runs driven in. We told you that with the wind blowing out, if you're throwing a lot of high fastballs, you're going to have some problems. And for Covey, he's thrown a lot of high fastballs, and he's had some problems. We'll take another look at it. Although that one was knee-high. Myers hits a towering fly ball. I'm not sure that he's happy with it. I don't think he made good contact, but it shows you. We talked about that wind. It just rode it completely out of here by plenty.
You don't often see the home run hitter spike his bat.
No.
You just don't.
No.
So Ryan Schimpf, who had an out-of-nowhere season last year in terms of power numbers, comes up with nobody on. 20 homers in his major league debut year for Schimpf, who never made it to the majors as he came through the Blue Jays organization.
He also didn't play in a real easy ballpark to hit home runs. So that was particularly impressive.
Snuck it through, and Schimpf is on. So now here's Hunter Renfroe, who was another one of these first-round picks for the Padres. So they have 3 in the first 5 hitters. He was back in 2013 out of Mississippi State.
Renfroe has prolific power. He can hit it a long way. In fact, there's a few guys in this lineup that can hit a lot of home runs. The question will be, will they make enough contact to be effective?
Up the middle from Renfroe. Little flip from Saladino. Anderson withstands the blow from Schimpf and turns 2. Sox are out of it. 2-0 Padres. Bunch of the everyday regulars in the lineup for Ricky Renteria today. Saladino leads off. Tim Anderson in the 2 spot that he likes. Then Melky, Jose Abreu, Frazier, Nicky Delmonico in the rotation as the DH today. Garcia, Smith, and Garcia.
We'll take a look at the defense and how they're going to line up behind Chassin. It's Bloch with Jankowski and Renfroe in the outfield. Then Schimpf, Ibar, Spangenberg, and Myers in the infield. The great defender Austin Hedges behind the plate with Jolie Chassin on the mound, on for his 3rd start, 4th game overall. There you look at the numbers. One point he was really highly thought of with the Colorado Rockies. Now trying to put it together for the San Diego Padres. So he stays in the same division, knows all the hitters, and at times he's thrown pretty well. He's looking to recapture some of the magic in San Diego.
He has lived in the National League West. The only 2 teams he's not played for in the West are now the Giants and Dodgers. He played for the Diamondbacks very briefly as well.
Give him time.
It's kind of like the divisional Mike Morgan plan.
He had he had a few good years, one great year where Greg Maddux actually worked with him before each start on pitch selection per hitter.
Saladino plugs this one to center field, way back there and gone.
Fourth home run of the spring, his 10th driven in. That shows you that you get it up in the air today. and it's going to go. Towering fly ball. Jankowski went back as far as he could go, only to see this high fastball taken out of the yard. Tyler Saladino, who had a terrific year last year, saw his opportunity. When Brett Lowry was designated for assignment, second base was open. Tyler Saladino jumped on that opportunity.
Tim Anderson strokes the first pitch to center field, and a very rapid Sox rally in the first.
One of the things they're not going to do a lot of, and that is stealing bases. Not on Austin Hedges, who not only has a very strong and accurate arm, he's one of the quicker catchers, and it's 2 seconds. They call leather to leather, from the time the ball hits the catcher's glove to the time it hits the glove of whoever's covering, shortstop or second baseman. 2 seconds is major league average. He's in the 1.85 range.
That said, we expect the Sox stolen base number for the year will be up.
I think it's going to be way up, because everybody is not Austin Hedges, and there are some guys you can take advantage of. And more times than not, by the way, you don't take advantage of the catcher, you take advantage of the pitcher.
There was a story the other day on Fangraphs, the website that kind of delves deep into stats, and one of the things they've looked up for quite a while is what stats actually carry over from spring training to the regular season, and the answer is not very many. However, stolen bases generally seem to, by their research, be the stat that most carries over to the regular season.
There would be only one exception, and I agree with you that probably is true, but the one exception being that, especially in Arizona, where you find guys not throwing as many breaking balls because they don't break quite as well, you're going to throw more fastballs. Consequently, you're not going to have those opportunities. And, you know, coaches pride themselves on getting a rhythm for a catcher, and sometimes you can pretty much tell when a breaking ball is forthcoming. Well, in spring training, you're not going to get near as many as you are during the season. Consequently, you're not going to run as aggressively as you will run later. So, if anything, they undersell the stolen base.
Melky the opposite way. 2 on, nobody out.
Well, Chacin would probably like to investigate taking something off as opposed to a changeup or a slow breaking ball or something other than a fastball, because they haven't worked very well to this point. Throwing a high fastball. Well, you know what I always wanted to do?
What's that, Steve?
I wanted to see Blake Felix umpire a game behind the plate.
You did?
Sometime before the end of the spring. And as fate would have it, he's behind the plate today.
Was that an accidental cliche of the day, by the way? As fate would have it?
Yes, but not one well used enough, because fate actually does play a role in this.
Not enough tread on that cliche to be cliche of the day?
Not enough tread. That's exactly right, little weasel.
So here's Abreu. We're name calling in the first. That's good. Time to leave Arizona. Abreu, a blast to left field. Blash looks up. It's gone.
The 2-run lead erased in seemingly a heartbeat. Home run, single, home run. And just like that, 4 runs in the first. We'll take another look at it. And perhaps Jolie's Chacin would like to throw something other than a high fastball. That one goes a long way, and that was a line drive rocket.
Still nobody out. There's ball 1 to Frazier.
I had a number of days like Chacin is experiencing here, and the only thing you say to yourself as each run scores is they're going to be wiped off the board. These don't count. Boy, am I happy it's spring training. When does the season start?
No matter what happens today, 20 runs in the first 2 innings. He's going to be the opening day starter.
That's exactly
at
right.
Dodger Stadium.
It's Darren Balsley going out to have a word with him, probably suggesting an off-speed pitch or so. I know he doesn't want to give anything away to many of the advanced scouts in the seats. And by the way, we had a nice visit before the game today by Danny Evans, former Major League General Manager, spent a great deal of time with the White Sox in his career. Now working for the Toronto Blue Jays, spends a lot of time in the international market. He said 50 or 60 days in the Far East each and every year.
It's a long haul to do a number of times.
He talked about something interesting. He talked about the quality overall of play in Japan and how it's just gotten better and better as the years have moved along. And so where the fences used to be in close, they're not anymore. Where pitchers used to pitch once a week, they don't quite do that. They do throw more than the pitchers in our country throw. They're trying to carry it over. But he says players coming over these days from Japan are much better than they've ever been.
On 3-1, Frazier to left center, and it's Blash sizing it up for out number 1. Today's the last day to get your ballpark pass for only $39. Just $39. You can go to all 11 home games in April, excluding opening day. Don't miss out on this incredible value and an unbeatable price. WhiteSox.com/pass to buy yours today and today only.
That's really one of the great promotions that we have, and you can add that opening day ticket, and you can get to know your 2017 White Sox in April.
Sox will see the Tigers and Twins, that first homestand at the newly christened Guaranteed Rate Field. Then Cleveland and Kansas City will be in later in April before the Sox take to the road quite a bit early this season.
Cleveland lost another player before the season starts.
To first base, Will Myers handles it for out number 2.
So not only does Jason Kipnis go on the DL, not going to be available.
Cody Anderson?
No, well, Cody Anderson was another one. And Lonnie Chisenhall having some problems, and they say probably not going to be ready for opening day. So that's the third meaningful injury that the Indians have absorbed, and that's one of the reasons why repeating is so difficult, is because you might have a lot of breaks. Now, they lost Brantley last year, and they lost their 2 pitchers, and certainly that was, when Carrasco went down, was a huge loss for them. And so, along with Salazar, that made things a lot different in the postseason. They were ready most of the season. But when you get those early injuries and you don't get off to a good start, that makes things even more difficult.
Any reason to think that the long playoff run and the lack of a real rejuvenating offseason can have an effect on injuries?
Well, it depends sometimes on what you carry forward and how long you have to regroup and heal. I'm pretty much certain that Jason Kipnis came away and had some shoulder difficulties. They didn't heal quite as quickly as he would like. And as far as the other guys, well, I mean, injuries are going to happen. It's a question of timing. And when they do happen, the Indians are going to be very good this year, so they have plenty of patience. They got enough time to wait, and probably will do well enough where they're not going to be affected for the year.
Boy, Chacin missed by a lot on that 4-pitch walk to Avi Garcia. Leaves it up to Kevin Smith, Sox catcher today. Sox will take the team plane after the game today, head home, playing Milwaukee Friday and Saturday, and then the regular season opener on Monday. The former quarterback, Kevin Smith, turned Sox catcher with his Major League debut last season. Takes a breaking ball inside. It was interesting. Kevin Smith gets hurt last year when he's up in Toronto and didn't get a chance to make that Major League debut for a long time thereafter. He got his chance as a quarterback at Pitt because of injury. The guy that was playing quarterback at the time, Bill Stull, got hurt. And so Kevin Smith got forced into the starting job for a little while at Pittsburgh early in his career there because of injury.
You know they're going to happen. You never really know exactly who they're going to happen to or what the timing of the injury is going to be. That's one of the reasons why any good manager is going to tell his extra men, I want you to work as hard as you can every day because odds are overwhelming. I'm going to need you. I'm going to probably need you sooner rather than later. And when I need you, I don't want you rusty when you come in. That's a way to keep your guys who are not getting play all the time healthy, ready to go, and when they come to the park every day, doing something that will keep them ready when they get their opportunity.
3-2 now on Smith with Garcia at first, 2 down, 8th batter of the Sox first inning. Anthony Swarzak has been loosening in the Sox bullpen just in case, as Leury Garcia is the only starter we've not seen so far in this game. That's a swing and a miss for strike 3, and the Sox rally is done. But 2 homers have 4 runs up on the board. 4-2 Sox after 1. Four-2 Sox with the lead, and we are joined by a pretty happy camper from down in the Sox dugout. We offer congratulations to you, Jacob May, for being the opening day center fielder, it looks like. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You know, who knows how the lineup's going to shake down on opening day, but it seems as though you won the job. What was your first reaction when you found out about the trade of Peter Borges?
You know, it's kind of bittersweet. I mean, I really got to know him very well. You know, playing against him, next to him, you know, day in and day out, you develop a friendship, and he was my teammate. You know, so it was bittersweet. You know, I knew that with that trade happening, it could, you know, maybe lead to or open up an opportunity for me to, you know, break through this thing and get a shot up there at the big league. So, you know, I still didn't want to, you know, invest or think too much into it until I talked to the manager or heard anything as to what the team wanted to do with me. But, yeah, it was bittersweet. I mean, I wish him the best of luck. He's a great player and a great friend of mine as well.
A lot of our viewers don't really know the mindset of a very young player coming to spring training. What was your game plan, and did you believe that you had a chance this year to make this ball club?
Yes, I definitely did. I believe I have a chance every year. Being in big league camp, you want to just make an impression on the staff. You know, I wanted to impress Debo. You know, let him know that I was going to be a great asset out there in center field, and I was going to be able to take away a lot of hits. And you know, obviously Rick, you want to impress him. He's the manager, and he's the guy you want on your side, and you want him to feel comfortable with you out there and in that lineup. So I came into this camp and I wanted to just, you know, make a good impression and kind of display my physical abilities as far as my speed goes and what I can do to help the team win in that aspect of it.
We're seeing some of your defense on the screen right now as Hedges homers makes it a 4-3 game. So Jacob, what does it mean to you to have made this team?
I'm sorry.
What does it
I'm
mean?
sorry. Can you repeat that? It's kind of hard to hear.
Okay. What does it mean to you to have made this team?
What does it mean to what?
To make this
to you
team.
to have made this team.
Oh, it's a dream come true. This is something I've been dreaming about my whole life, man. I mean, I've been around the clubhouses and teammates, players my whole life growing up, you know. And you watch these guys on TV and you vision yourself out there, and it's just a dream come true, you know. I mean, it's still kind of surreal, and you know, it'll probably soak in after that first game, but you know, I couldn't help myself but to, you know, kind of break down in tears and thank God for just blessing me with the opportunities that I've already been blessed with, and the opportunity that I have in front of me right now. So I'm just grateful, man. That's all I can be, is grateful.
You told me earlier this spring you felt like the underdog. Why?
Yes, sir. You know, I'm just not someone that's talked about a lot, and that's fine with me. I don't really want to be talked about that much. The people that I want in my corner are in my corner, and that's, you know, the people throughout this organization. They know what I'm capable of. They've seen me in my best and at my worst. So, you know, but you know, the public and a lot of the blogs and stuff like that, I don't even really pay too much attention to it. But I know that, you know, I'm not spoke about as much throughout the whole race. So it was just kind of a chip on my shoulder through the whole thing. You know, that I had nothing to lose. You know. If I go out there and shock some people, then more power to me. But the odds were kind of not in my favor, and that's okay. I kind of embraced that and like that. So it allowed me to, you know, go out there, play free and have fun. You know, it's still baseball, so you just want to go out there, have fun, and compete. And it's funny how this game is, but when you're trying to help the team win, a lot of things will fall in place for yourself. So it's been a great experience.
As a switch hitter, how difficult is it, whether it's spring training or as the season moves along, to keep the stroke groove from both sides of the plate?
Yeah, it's actually extremely underrated as to how much work it is. You have to really, I personally have to depend on my routine, and you have to trust it. You know, you have to have something that I would say that throughout my career, I've learned that my left-hand swing and my right-handed swing are not going to be the exact same. So you gotta have to. It's almost like you're working with two different people. So you know, things I may do left-handed, I may not do right-handed routine-wise. But so you kind of have to just, you know, get the feels that you want, and you know, stick to your routine and just trust the process. You gotta, you know, you just gotta work in and day out, and you don't want to overswing because you're gonna wear your body down throughout the full season. But that's why the routine is so great, to keep you consistent.
Jacob, thank you for spending the time. Really appreciate it, and a hearty congratulations from both of us up here.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Take care.
Jacob May, untouched by sunflower seeds because Melky was in left field. 4-3 your score after 1.5. could only hear Steve, evidently. Steve said it and translated. That was nice.
I have, yeah. I was talking in the King's English. Oh, that's terrible.
Days away. Join us Monday, April 3rd, as the Sox take on the Detroit Tigers at 3:10 p.m. All fans in attendance get a 2017 magnetic schedule. You can stick it to your fridge, wherever you might do it. Great seats are still available. Get yours today at whitesox.com.
Love magnetic schedules. You keep it with you the entire season and know exactly where your Sox are going to be.
You don't love just one schedule, though, as Leury Garcia bounces this ball to first. If you see Steve walking around Chicagoland at some point, stop him and say, Steve, might I be able to borrow 20 pocket schedules from you? And the answer will unequivocally be yes, because if there's a pocket schedule pile on a table, Steve sweeps them up.
Well, you know, I mean, if you have more than the friend and a half that you have, you'll know that you have to give them
round down
to various people. Round down to one friend. Yes, and so they know then exactly where you are and know not to call you most of the time, actually. Be careful, your pens are slipping.
Thank you
You're
for the help. I now have two friends. It's great. Chacin to Saladino, who homered back in the first on a 1-1 pitch. And here she is.
We found today you better throw some ground balls or keep the ball down somehow because everything's flying out of the yard. So that was the fourth of the spring for Tyler Saladino, who's got a bit more power than most people think.
2 balls and a strike now on Saladino. And isn't it interesting how he has gone, even within the organization, from possible major league guy to possible fill-in guy in the majors to, oh boy, he's pretty good when we play him some significant amount of time. Now maybe the starting second baseman on this team. And there's a rocket to center field. Base hit with 1 out for Saladino.
I think what's real interesting is when a player comes up, you never really know, although we're quick to put tags on players in the major leagues, you never really know how that player is going to develop. So when a guy comes up, he's all of a sudden tagged with, he's a good swingman. Maybe he's going to be your 5th infielder, and he could actually play the outfield and come in late, get you a stolen base here and there. That's how Tyler was initially thought of. Then you watch him play a bit, the first thing that jumps out at you, he's a smart player. He knows how to play the game. He's got a good feel for the game. Then the next thing is, well, you know what? He might be able to platoon, maybe in some spot. And then all of a sudden you see him a bit more, like last year when we had a chance to see him because of some injuries and he got an opportunity and you say to yourself, this guy may be a bit better than we thought. Now we're watching him in the spring realizing that he's a pretty good player.
We just heard the same thing from Jacob May.
Pretty much.
Down in the
yeah.
dugout.
Yeah.
People think of me as a 4th outfielder, 5th outfielder, and I want to change that. And that's, yes, stats can anticipate and at least contemplate possible development, but it's very difficult to pinpoint the full development. Saladino's off, and Anderson in the air, foul ground right side.
That's one of the most difficult things in this game to overcome, and that is a tag that you get early in your career. It happens a lot with left-hand hitters. They come up to the major leagues, they get an opportunity, they face a couple of very tough left-handers, they look terrible, and all of a sudden, well, he's a platoon player at best. Yeah, we can get him some at-bats against, if you're a left-hand hitter, the right-hand pitchers, but he can't hit the lefties. But in order to get an opportunity to come and show you what he can do, he hit lefties in the minor leagues. So it becomes almost a catch-22. Quick throw to first and nothing doing.
You know, that is the luxury, and I know there are certain people that may or may not want to hear about that, but that's the luxury the Sox have right now in the mode that the team is in. If Jacob May were to start the season 0 for 20 or 20 for 20, whatever side he leans toward, you don't have to make an immediate judgment on somebody to how he plugs in to a possible World Series contender according to the odds.
Well, and you're also, I mean, when you're sitting around and you're in the front office of a baseball team, you're sitting around, you're evaluating your team, and consequently, as you evaluate your team, you figure what's going to happen this coming year and who do you need in various places. If you're a team that you believe is going to contend, I mean 100% sure you're going to contend, Jacob May most likely does not make this team. But this isn't the team that's going to do that. And so Jacob May gets an opportunity. So it depends on where you are, when you get there, and what the front office thinks about their own ball club. And consequently, you find guys like Jacob May getting an opportunity they might not have gotten. And who knows, he might take over center field, play so well that he keeps the position for 10 years. It could very well be that that's what happens.
Melky wraps it to second, and Spangenberg throws him out, so the Sox don't score. First half inning with a 0 on the board in this high scorer from Arizona. White Sox fans, join us as the Sox take on the Twins Saturday, April 8th. 1:10 p.m. is the start time, and the first 15,000 fans get a White Sox winter hat presented by Coca-Cola. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com.
And for those of you who follow this series, Fargo is coming back the middle of April, and that hat is perfect for it, even with the new plaid motif.
And the first 5 fans get the True Coat on their car.
That's right, Margie.
That's a different hat than last year. It's got the plaid going on.
I know.
You can collect them all.
It is kind of nice and very warm, which is good, which I think will come in handy. Although 55 degrees opening day in Chicago with a slight chance of rain. We'll be saying that till the early parts of June. The slight chance of rain.
Well, I don't know that that's fair. We had some nice days early last year.
Here in Arizona.
Did you ever think of taking up meteorology?
Yes.
You did?
Yeah, my hero growing up was Tom Skilling. Man loves weather like nobody in the world.
Your hero growing up?
Yes, I was growing up watching Tom. He was terrific. He still is terrific.
Nobody loves the weather.
Like that man loves the weather.
He loves the weather. Two and one to Jankowski. Anthony Swarzak, who's pitched well this spring and has credited the Sox a little bit for some added velocity to his fastball. It looks like the type of guy that might be an innings eater.
I think you certainly need that, especially when you're reworking your starting rotation and don't know exactly who's going to be there at any given time. So I would say a guy that can throw multiple innings out of the bullpen is certainly an asset. And we've seen Swarzak throughout his career. He was a starting pitcher at times. He can throw 2-3 innings if need be, and that's a guy that's invaluable in this day and age of baseball where you have starting pitchers going less and less. You just don't want to run through your bullpen, especially if you go on a situation where you're winning a whole lot of games, and then you get a pitcher having a tough outing and leaving in the second.
Swarzak came in the second today after one inning from the starter, Dylan Covey. 2-2 on Jankowski, the young Padre outfielder. Dropped in a breaking ball, strike 3.
We'll take a look at a backdoor breaking ball, and that's exactly where Kevin Smith wanted it. Good solid pitch. Blake Felix with a definitive, called third. There you look at the career numbers of Anthony Swarzak. He started 32 games, ERA 4.5.
He'll face Spangenberg now, and this ground ball is right on the bag for out number 2. By the way, in this game today, we may see a deep pool of youth from the Sox, considering this being getaway day.
Jose comes over, traps it, and makes easy work of it.
Mason Robbins, the 25th round pick from 2014, is into left. Cabrera in at shortstop, and Jake Peter, 7th round pick from that same 2014 draft, who made it up to AAA last year, is in at second base. So Saladino, Anderson, and Cabrera are all finished for the Arizona portion of the program.
But that rule that we noted about having a Cabrera on the field at all times certainly is held true today.
In the air to right field, little used until this week, and now oft invoked. One Cabrera at all times. 4-3 Sox.
Friday, the Hawks welcome Brandon Saad and the playoff-bound Blue Jackets to the UC. Coverage begins at 7 with Chevy Blackhawks pregame live or live stream on the NBC Sports app.
CBJ is coming to town. Columbus Blue Jackets. It's a nickname.
They're the playoff-bound Blue Jackets.
You read very well.
I'm nothing if not readable.
Here's Abreu, and here's what he did first time.
Third home run of the spring. He's now driven in 14 of them, and that erases a lead.
There's a hook from Chacin. 1-2 on Abreu, likely one of his final at-bats of the spring. Abreu whacks this down the left field line toward the corner and bouncing up and over the wall for a double.
Jose is part of the second part of the 2 first-inning home runs, something they didn't do all last season. He had 2 home runs in the first inning, and there is a breaking ball down, and Jose stays right with it. Key here is don't pull out that front shoulder. Stay with the breaking ball. Stay closed. And he took it down the line.
You know, that's called a book rule double, Steve.
It is. We learned that today. We had a real interesting conversation today before the game. It was a meeting, actually, where we went over the rules. The rules that seem fairly rudimentary to some were explained to us by Rich Marazzi, who has been employed by a number of major league clubs. I think the number is up to 11. And he was able to break down situations and what should have been called, what was called. I thought was really interesting and very, very beneficial. So for those of you who will be watching us this year, we'll have a stronger grasp of sometimes what appears to be obvious really isn't. And, you know, we've talked about a number of things today, that being one of them, the rule book double as opposed to the ground rule double.
And the reason being, a ground rule anything is unique to the specific park you're in. So when they had the flagpole in Houston or the catwalk in Tampa as Ibar makes the catch and one away, that is a ground rule double, triple, whatever it might be. Anything that is just based on the general rules of baseball would be a book rule double. So we encourage you as fans, by the way, you have nothing better to do certainly than to read the entire rule book, but we will be quizzing you at points on the rules. And so you should read the whole rule book while you're sitting at home watching our games.
The reason is obvious, is that there are some rules where Rule A as opposed to Rule B applies.
Well hit center field. Jankowski has no play. Nicky Delmonico goes long for the Sox' third home run.
A solo shot, a 3-run homer, now a 2-run homer, and only the grand slam is left. So Nicky Delmonico, who's been very impressive this spring, gets what appears to be an off-speed pitch from Chacin, reaches out, gets it up in the air, and with the power that he's shown all spring, drives one out of the yard. That's a team-leading 5th home run for Nicky Delmonico, who, like so many other guys in this extended spring, because of the World Baseball Classic, we get another week or 8 days. He's making the most of it.
Here's a guy who the Sox picked up a couple years ago, Delmonico that is, as Avi takes a strike, who has really impressed Ricky Renteria this year.
I think there's one player up and down the roster with non-roster invitees and everybody else who came to spring training. The one guy, when you talk to either Todd Steverson or you talk to Ricky Renteria or anybody else, you ask him about who surprised you, what guy left an impression that you're going to take with you this year, and they all talk about Nicky Delmonico. That was a blast.
You know, you talk about over the course of the season injuries that happen in the major leagues and all of the roster movement that goes on. If you just look at any one team in Major League Baseball, no swing there on Garcia, any one team in Major League Baseball, there are still dozens upon dozens of roster moves every season, even if you're the healthiest team in the majors. So a guy like Delmonico, wherever he ends up as the roster shakes down, as Avi does a little Minnesota Fats job on the infield and gets the ball to sneak into right. Now the Padres are throwing it all over Arizona, and Avi's on his way to second base.
That ball started out to be a difficult play to make because it squibbed off the end of the bat, came with a lot of spin, and Myers had some problems going across. And then it became adventuresome. Ball gets away again from Spangenberg. Then the throw to first, well, that one's not going to be handled because Chacin could not make the pick. And it does go as E4. So Avi is going to leave this ball game.
Looks like Alex Call, the Ball State product, pinch running. Have you influenced the Sox drafting a bunch of MAC players, by the way?
Well, I got to tell you, the premier, and this is a little known fact, the premier baseball conference in the country, if you don't count the other 5 that are better, is the MAC. And so that's,
it's a little long for a slogan for the conference, I have to say.
We're number 6?
Well, no, what you said wouldn't fit on a bumper sticker. Maybe a bumper sticker for a Winnebago.
A large bumper sticker.
Ball and a strike on Smith. Avi at second. Leury Garcia, should say Avi was in on the error. Now Call at second base as the pinch runner. And Smith takes a breaking ball strike.
He wasn't particularly enamored with that breaking ball called by Blake Felix. He thought he had hooked around the plate.
That's in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Alex Call, 3rd-round pick just last year out of Ball State, made it up to Kannapolis in Low A this past year and had 17 doubles in 46 games.
Shows a combination of being able to hit the ball very hard and have excellent speed.
That's low, 3-2.
Leury in the on-deck circle. He's had a very good spring, and he's shown his versatility, playing just about everywhere, and so they are waiting.
Blash in left field was down on his knees.
And then he kind of laid down in the outfield. Now apparently he's up and ready to go.
3-2. That is inside, ball 4. Sox have 2 on with 1 down. So here is the aforementioned Leury Garcia trying to build on a successful spring that looks like it's got him in the plans for the Sox here in 2017.
Well, the old saying, not to be confused with the cliche of the day, is what's not to like. And with Leury, when you break down his game, he can do just about everything. So in this age of baseball where versatility is the key because you're playing with short benches a lot because of one more spot taken up in the bullpen, you want a guy that can play numerous positions and give you speed. And of course, he's got a very strong arm to go with it, being a lifetime shortstop.
To second base, Spangenberg. Ibar in the turn means 2. Sox get a pair, though. Nicky Delmonico with a 2-run home run, and it is 6-3 on this long ball. Training Baseball is presented by Canals Auto Park. All homers all the time for the Sox so far in this game. All homers for the Padres, too. 5 home runs, 6-3 Sox. Dan Jennings called upon for the 4th.
Dan doing what he did last year, putting together a great spring on for the 6th time. The ERA just 135. Last year overall, as dependable as they got. Almost transcended the situational left-hander philosophy when Zach Duke was that guy. He departed, and Dan Jennings took over that role and did it very well.
Another guy who last year was given an opportunity, and you thought, well, we'll see how he does with it, and he was exceptional.
Number 89, Jay Peter, moves from second to third base. Number 87, Alvarez enters the game at second. Number 88, Alex Carr remains in the game at right field. Again, 89, Peter from second to third. 87, Alvarez.
0-2 on Schimpf.
So we've got some defensive changes. Peter shifts from second to third. Alvarez takes over at second. And Call stays in the game in right field. With we told you about Robbins in left.
Eddie Alvarez, the speed skating medalist, into the game at second base. Oh boy, that hit Schimpf. And he does not need that baseball bat anymore.
Smith wants it inside, and this one just gets away. High on the tricep. But usually they do have some sort of padding on that lead elbow. Oh, that one a little higher than I think the padding reached.
Gives the Padres a runner on with nobody out here in this 4th inning for Hunter Renfroe, who made his major league debut last year in 35 at-bats with the Padres. And he golfs this ball up the alleyway in left center for a single. Runners at the corners. That ball had some zip to it, huh?
Yeah, a couple of these guys hit the ball really hard. The question will be, as they get a little more experience, will they cut down on strikeouts? Renfroe has prolific power, as does Blash. That's a low fastball taken down, hit awfully hard.
So here is the UCLA bound catcher Austin Hedges, ended up with the Padres, and they expect big things out of him.
Probably brought him up a little too early. He's got great defensive skills. He's among the best in the major leagues as far as every aspect of defensive catching. And the Padres believe that the bat is going to catch up with the defense. I think he might have called time and didn't get it from Blake Felix. But he did get strike one call.
Catcher out of Junipero Serra High School in San Juan Capistrano. He'll be heading west
with the Swallows
this season.
Way to go.
Oh, and 2. And the dirt.
Nice stop by Kevin Smith as he made sure there was no advancement by Renfroe. Or Schimpf, who's 90 feet away from scoring.
It has been a high scorer so far. 6-3 into the 4th. One and 2 for Hedges. Fouled away.
Sox will gladly trade the double play ground ball for the run. There's a young fan on just a gorgeous day. And they'll get a souvenir in his future.
He looks straight up, and there goes a ball. Interesting how that happens. Another breaking ball in the dirt. 2-2, Jennings to Hedges. By the way, told you the Sox will be headed to Milwaukee. The Friday game will be on WLS Radio. You and I will have the Saturday game from Miller Park.
One of the great things about it is that retractable dome that early doesn't get retracted too often.
2-2, drilled to center field. Hedges gives it a long ride, and we are tied.
Dan Jennings came into the ball game just in time to run into a buzzsaw on a day where you want to throw ground balls, because just about everything in the air is departing the park. A 3-run home run. His first 2 home runs of the spring came in the second and here in the fourth. And that one had a good part of the middle of the plate gone.
All Luis Alexander Basabe into center field could do is watch it fly. 6 all, top 4. A confidence builder for the offenses at the tail end of spring. Jabari Blash, who struck out looking first time, goes after that pitch. 0-2.
He's a nice sized fellow. Knocking at the door, 6'5".
Strike 3, Blash with a very clear come on that he yelled at the plate umpire Blake Felix on this strike 3.
We'll take another look. It's a backdoor breaking ball. And he seems to be a bit unhappy.
Well, good news is that he stays in the game in that battle between Blue and Blash.
That's Blashed.
High bar, deep center, and gone. It's a home run for Eric Ibar, and the Padres lead 7-6.
Eric
oh boy.
Smoked that one. His second home run of the spring. He's driven in 5. And that one, knee high and gone. Hit into the air, and like a few before it, finds a way out of the yard. 4 home runs for the Padres. 3 for our Sox.
7-6. And Alan Cordoba is hitting. Padres will make a pitching change, and likely this will become the designated hitter spot that they have the option of using. Chacin hit for himself the first time and flied out to center. There is a bid down the right field line that's foul. 0-2. Learning how to keep score, or maybe already knowing how to keep score. When'd you learn how to keep score?
It's one of the things my dad did for me that was great. When we started to go to games, he taught me how to keep the score. And of course, it changes a bit as you move along, but that young man is learning early exactly how to do it. And he probably thinks that, boy, they hit this many home runs all the time. Boy, is it exciting to come to a game. Look at all this offense. As all of the pitchers go for some therapy.
Probably not the way to end spring training if you're pitchers.
No, but you are ecstatic that it is spring training and you can wipe all these off the board.
So 2-2 on Cordoba. Over second. Alvarez couldn't get there. That's a base hit for Cordoba and the Padres. We have a Sox Math question to give you here in the fourth inning. Use the hashtag Sox Math. First correct answer wins something. Take the number of regular season home runs Jose Abreu has in his Sox career. Subtract the number of home games the Sox will play. Divide the number of teams which call Camelback Ranch home in spring training, and add the number of letters in Yoan Moncada's home country. Hashtag SoxMath on Twitter. You got it?
Well, yeah, but I have to disqualify myself.
Why?
Lack of talent. I have no mathematical ability whatsoever.
Come on.
True.
What's the count?
Well, that's easy. It's 1-0, but
That's ability.
Yeah, well.
It's a modicum of ability.
To look at the monitor.
Well, it's math. 2-0, and Smith goes out to talk to Jennings, who's allowed a couple of home runs here in the fourth inning.
And the pen is up and going. 23 pitch mark for Dan Jennings, so he expected to get an inning of work. Probably didn't expect to have it look as troublesome as this one looks.
Cordoba at first. 2-0 on Jankowski. That's a strike. Every run in this game has crossed on a home run. Two and two on Jankowski, and with this being a close game, I mean, there are some guys like a Peter or Alvarez or Call that are going to get some playing time late in what seems like it's going to be a close game, which is good news for their development as well. Guys we haven't seen extensively on the Major League field so far in 2017 spring training. Runners off. Smith had to throw from his knees and nearly still got Cordoba. He was safe.
He appeared to get a face full of the infield as he went in head first, tried to move away from the tag. It's a good pick and tag at second base. Everett Cabrera comes over, backhand picks, but can't get it there near in time. Almost made a terrific play out of it as Kevin Smith puts it on the third base side of second. We've talked quite a bit about the fact that there are no outs on the third base side. So if you do miss, and catchers don't want to, but usually will miss a few times, you'd like to miss on the second base side. First base side of the second base bag.
3-2 on Jankowski. Jennings, a payoff is low. 2 on, 1 out. Sox fans host a pregame patio party this season. With purchase, you receive a game ticket and can enjoy an all-you-can-eat buffet and all-inclusive wine, beer, and Coke products. Patio opens 90 minutes prior to the game and closes 30 minutes after the start of the game. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/group. Sox will go to the bullpen. David Holmberg is on his way out. We'll step aside. 7-6 Padres in the fourth.
David Holmberg comes in, his ERA at 5.5 with a 1-0 record, on for the third time. He's one of the guys mentioned as a competitor for a starting spot that seems to have opened up. So what would look normally like just get a couple of innings in and show what you can do becomes a little more important for David Holmberg.
He's made 12 career starts in the majors, 11 of those with Cincinnati, 1 with Arizona, for a guy who originally was drafted by the Sox in 2009, traded away in the Edwin Jackson deal, and traded by Arizona for a catcher, Ryan Hannigan, and now back with the Sox as a free agent. This is on the ground. Alvarez feeds Cabrera, and they do give the out. The drop was on the exchange. Cordoba scores, and the Padres have their 8th run.
Slowly hit ball. It's going to be a tough 2 anyway, but Cabrera on the transfer loses the ball as he's jumping out of the way of the sliding Jankowski. And it goes as a fielder's choice.
So Will Myers will get one more at bat for the Padres. This is not San Diego's last game here in the Cactus League. They will play the Rockies tomorrow. So if you sense that the Sox are going deeper onto the bench earlier, that may be part of the reason why. Ball smoked foul. 2 strikes on Myers.
Will Myers has a very similar stance and approach to the baseball as does Evan Longoria. That was one of the things when we were playing together at Tampa Bay. Longoria would come up, Myers would come up. It looked like almost the same hitter, where they have fairly quiet hands. They have a slightly open stance. And of course, Myers having to move to San Diego to get all the playing time and really bring all of that talent to the forefront.
Boy, such a difficult thing to have to move to San Diego.
Yeah, it's tough. That's tough.
Ricky Renteria, California guy himself.
Former Major League infielder.
Two strikes from Holmberg. And he throws to first on Spangenberg. Five-run inning for the Padres. 3-run homer for Austin Hedges. Solo homer Eric Ibar. Another foul ball from Myers. Sox got their 6 runs on 3 homers. Tyler Saladino led off the game for the Sox with a solo homer. Then Abreu, a 3-run homer 3 batters later. And finally, Nicky Delmonico, a 2-run homer in the 3rd. On 0-2. Looked like Smith wanted a high fastball there.
Was a fastball, was not high, and was a touch inside.
Foul ball again for Myers. Will Myers taking a little stroll around the batting circle. One of those things that Major League Baseball might want to crack down on in terms of speeding up the time between pitches.
Yeah, I think they would just as soon, be it hitter or pitcher, not allow them to take too many strolls in between pitches, because that will eat away a whole lot of time.
Runners off, Smith to second, late. And a stolen base for Spangenberg. We could ask hitters why they take the time around the batting circle and all that, but it's, you know, is there much value?
I think there's absolutely no value. It's just a question of the hitter, I guess, composing himself to figure out what he wants to do, but I think you can do that with a little less time between pitches.
It's outside, 3-2 on Myers. Schimpf, who started this inning off by being plunked by Dan Jennings, stands on deck. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down. Up the middle, Alvarez behind the bag for out number 3. Padres send up 9, 5 score, 8-6 Sox trail.
Opening day is just around the corner, but first, the White Sox make a stop in Milwaukee. Saturday afternoon, we're live from Miller Park at 1 o'clock on CSN. Spring training baseball is brought to you by, yes, Canals Auto Park. Indeed, Stereo Canals. That's who it's brought to you by. And we got a new pitcher coming in the ball game, and it is Miguel Diaz. Pretty good spring, 7 games, ERA 2.5. There you look at the rest of the numbers, and nobody's hitting him very well. He has managed to keep the ball in the ballpark, which is a task today. Fly balls going long ways.
First challenger is Jake Peter, who played in 130 games in the minors last year for the Sox. Diaz, former Minnesota Twin, just made it to Single-A Wisconsin last year, where he had a 3.71 ERA. He was part-time starter, part-time reliever. Ball and 2 strikes on Peter. Called strike 3, and Peter is sent away to lead off the inning. So 1 down for Everth Cabrera.
That's what Everth has done this spring, trying to recapture a major league job after an absence.
Ball 1 low. He was away from the game in the States last year, went home to Nicaragua. And here, a broken bat grounder to second. That's out number 2. Here's Mason Robbins with 2 out and the bases empty. 25th round pick in 2014 for the Sox, a Mississippi native out of the University of Southern Miss in lovely Hattiesburg. He led the Carolina League in batting average last year with Advanced A Winston-Salem, the dash.
That one was right off of Hedges, and so Felix goes out, spends a little time, lets Austin regroup. He'll take another look at it. Ooh,
square.
Yeah, got him pretty well. Pretty impressive year overall for Mason Robbins.
33 doubles, 7 triples a year after he had 9 triples with A-Ball Kannapolis. His rookie year had a 17-game hit streak with Great Falls. Strength 2. It's the type of opportunity at the end of spring training that you know somebody like Mason Robbins has to cherish.
Is getting an opportunity to show what you can do and make it in an official spring training game where you're playing the opposition instead of, you're on the back fields and maybe playing inter-squad games and things along those lines. These opportunities don't come up all that often. When they do, you certainly want to make the most of them.
2-2, wrapped to shortstop. And that is all she wrote for the Sox in a 1-2-3-4th for Miguel Diaz. To the 5th we go. Sox are down a pair. Welcome inside. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you. Sox are trailing 8-6, but this being the last game of spring training, what's your takeaway from here in Arizona?
Well, talking with Herm Schneider today, he said something, and I feel the same way. There's been a luck factor in that very few injuries. This team is emerging healthier than most other major league teams. That's the best part about spring training. That and the fact that we got a chance to see some really young guys a lot this spring, something that you don't normally get a chance to do.
First pitch hunting here for Schimpf, and he fouls it away.
So that part of it has been successful. We've seen guys, both whether they're pitching as a starter, pitching out of the bullpen, or getting more at bats than we thought. I mean, Nicky Delmonico had the opportunity this year because of a lot of different reasons. He's made the most of it. 5 home runs, leading the ball club in that department. So without the opportunities, we might not have known enough about Delmonico heading into this year. Regardless of how it works for him, he will have left an impression.
Learned a lot from the extra long spring training here this year, and a good time for it for the Sox, going into this phase of trying to see what the young guys have the next couple of years.
And that was pretty exciting, is taking a look at the 7 players acquired in trades and realizing just how much talent the Sox got back for Chris Sale and Adam Eaton. You traded away 2 very good players. In the case of Sale, probably a great pitcher. And you got a whole lot of tomorrow wrapped up in it.
Strike 3, down goes Schimpf. And 1 away, but on Ryan Schimpf, we got something to show you about him. I mean, here's a guy who is basically all or nothing in terms of his hits. Last year, look at the percentage of extra base hits. That whole pie, other than the red, is his extra base hits.
Kind of unusual, because you got a chance to see him in the minor leagues, and you said that he's really made some great strides.
Definitely turned up the power, as this is tracked down by Call off the bat of Hunter Renfroe for out number 2. Have you ever had Schimpf pie that we just tried out?
There was, though. That was courtesy of Chris Kamka. As you brought up, however, looking a little like a daily magazine and a daily newspaper that occasionally we partake in.
Pie charts, bar graphs,
whatever you can do.
Chris will serve it up for you. 2 out for Hedges, who has homered twice.
And the key factor, try to keep him in the park. First 2 home runs of the spring.
Solo homer in the 2nd inning. That went to right field. 3-run homer in the 4th. That went to just about center field. That was close. Ripped between third and short. Hedges has his 3rd hit. This one does stay in the ballpark. So here's Jabari Blash, who has seen 7 pitches by my count today. They've all been strikes, and he has struck out looking twice. Ball 1 to Blash. It's the first ball thrown to him today.
Former White Sox draft pick, 29th overall in 2007.
Then the Rangers, then the Mariners, and now here with the Padres. Strike from Holmberg. Right around now is when it's just about time to get the regular season games underway.
I think the players have felt like that for a while, with an extended spring training. And this spring training, official spring training game number 33. Many times you'll end a spring training without getting that high in games played.
Strike 3, Holmberg fans a pair as Blash has struck out 3 times. 8-6, the Sox are down. Enjoy all the benefits of being a White Sox season ticket holder by purchasing a prorated full or split season ticket package. To purchase a season ticket package, visit whitesox.com or call 312-674-1000 today. Beautiful day for baseball, whether you're just a fan or a player. Kind of catching shade under the tree.
That's about it. That's one of the few shady places here at Camelback Ranch in Glendale.
Also in your suitcase.
There's some
Another
shade
one
there.
of the shady places.
It's true. And we get a new pitcher coming in the ball game.
Craig Stammen.
Pretty good spring. In fact, a great spring. 12 strikeouts, 10 2/3 with a .84 ERA.
Here's Jose Abreu. Now's the time when you just start selling people on the crew out because we're leaving spring training, and so we're not going to see him again.
Ever?
Chris Kamka says Craig is a reliever because he doesn't have the stamina to be a starter.
Wow, is he coming north, or are they going to leave him here for seasoning?
He's actually being sent south. Off to Belize with Kamka. Some changes for the Padres. Torrens, the catcher.
Yeah, and Cowgill. More Cowgill in right field.
Had 0 before, now 1. Thanks for that update. 2-1 on Abreu from Craig Stammen, one of the biggest University of Dayton fans you will find. He's a basketball season ticket holder. A little bit high. 3-1 on Abreu. Jose with a nice day so far. 3-run homer and a double.
That's probably, if you were to script a spring training, what you'd love to do is start out very slowly and heat things up along the way. Jose looks like he is ready to go.
Schimpf at third, smothers it well for out number 1.
That was a good play, ranging to his left, knowing he had plenty of time. Well, getting up, and they retired Abreu for the first time today. Good effort by Schimpf. And relatively easy after that.
So Schimpf goes trawling for an out. And 1 away for Alvarez. Eddie Alvarez mentioned his speed skating prowess. He was a silver medal winner in the 500 meter in Sochi back in 2014. But had the baseball bug, didn't want to give that dream away, so has played pretty well for the Sox in the minor leagues.
So you certainly have a limited window as far as how long you can play, so if you have the ability, you might as well give it a shot. And that's what Eddie has done.
Last year, his first AAA experience, 12 games with Charlotte, was 10 for 35. After a .263 average and an on-base of about .340 with AA Birmingham. Two levels last year for Eddie Alvarez. He had a combined 50 walks, 46 of them in AA, 4 in AAA, and he was, with that total, 7th in the White Sox system in walks. So 3-2 for Alvarez. Nobody on, 1 out in this 5th inning. can follow us on Twitter, as it says there on your screen. Steve will tweet at you periodically throughout the games.
I'm waiting to break out the notable tweets for the baseball season. I mean, when the bell rings, which
We have a bell.
yes, that will be our cliche of the day. We're gonna get a lot better when the bell rings.
You think you could pull off that hairdo?
Personally,
Here's ball 4. Alvarez, as he did so much last year in the minors, takes a walk.
you mean the 5 quality hairs that I have, getting them bunched up like that?
You rate your hairs?
Yes.
Quality.
When you get down to the precious few, yes.
I think you could. A little bit of a mini beehive there. It's a good idea.
Really.
We should have people tweet in what hairstyle you should wear
Oh,
on a game basis.
By the way, it's very limited. My choices are very limited.
There goes Alvarez. Throw is high, and he is out.
Well, the question is, did he get him on the foot before the hand got in? And he takes that look back to see if there's any contact, and the tag, on the foot before the hand got there.
You think it was before the hand?
Oh, sure. Anything that creates an out at this point seems to be a good call.
I think he's safe, Steve.
Well, we'll play it again next spring.
Save that.
Sam.
Clip it.
Play it again, Sam.
We're playing our song. 2-0 on Delmonico. Still no sign of the Booth challenge, by the way, in Major League Baseball. So we are not going to have an opportunity to throw the flag on it.
High bar comes across.
Hey, he's safe.
You think so?
I do.
I've seen it again. I have to differ with you.
You don't have to.
Well, no, I would like to. Can they call 2 outs in that play?
2-1 from Stammen to Delmonico. Left center field. And Jankowski for the final out. Craig Stammen works a scoreless 5th. Sox are down by 2. Show our work on Sox math today. 91 homers for Abreu, 81 home games, that's 10. Sox and Dodgers call Camelback Ranch home. 10 divided by 2 is 5. add the 4 letters of Cuba to Moncada's home country. That's 9. Josh Nelson is your winner. The SSS Josh Nelsons. That's a large ship, I think. You add an S, and it's just a bigger ship. The strike to Eric Ibar, who homered back in the 4th. A ball and a strike from David Holmberg, who's done a nice job coming in as the 3rd guy out of the bullpen today. Dylan Covey worked 1 inning to start, then Anthony Swarzak threw 2. Dan Jennings gave up 5 in the 4th, a rare outing in which we've seen him give up a big number, and now Holmberg. Ibar had a really rough first half last year, but then turned it up a little bit the second half of last season.
The Padres were in dire need of a shortstop, and so they decided to take a gamble on a longtime shortstop, a man that has always had a lot of defensive skills for a while, especially with the Angels. He had some good offensive years also.
Ibar swats it to center. Basabe for out number 1. So the center fielder Cordoba is the batter in the 9 spot. As we said, the Sox and Padres will get together for a 3-game series in the regular season. That's in Chicago. Call in from right. And there's out number 2. Sox and Padres May 12th through the 14th. That's a 3-game series before a lengthy West Coast road trip for the Sox. 3 in Anaheim, 4 in Seattle, and 3 here in Arizona. Here's Colin Cowgill, the right fielder. Former Diamondback, Athletic, Met, Angel, and Indian.
A few stops, modeled a few uniforms.
He wraps this ball to 3rd, and Peter for a quick 1-2-3 inning for the Sox and David Holmberg. Nicely done for the left-hander today. Sox will go to the bat rack after this. Experience White Sox baseball any time of the year and book Southpaw for your next event. Visit whitesox.com/Southpaw for more information. We should book Southpaw for one of our games.
Nice idea.
Yeah.
Especially if we need a lefty.
We are short left-handers here in this booth.
So Jose Torres on the hill, speaking of left-handers, who is not short, on for the 10th time, and he's had a good spring. 14 strikeouts in 9 innings. And with opponents hitting just 129, it's been a very impressive spring for the left-hander.
A stringy lefty, tall and slender, Jose Torres. He'll face Alex Call first. Some life in that arm.
Good fastball.
Ball and a strike from Torres to the former Ball State Cardinal in lovely Muncie, Indiana. They don't get nearly as much publicity now that Letterman is off the air.
Good sports program, though, at Ball State.
Lost in, I believe, the MAC semifinals this year in the tournament.
Who won that?
It was the Golden Flashes, Steve Stone, and your impish smile.
Dynamite program.
Yeah.
Came just an eyelash short against UCLA.
Dynamite in that they imploded against UCLA.
Well, I wouldn't say imploded. They had a very good second half. You saw that game up close and personal. You realize that without 20 or 30 bad calls, they might have come away with a win.
Like where their three-point field goals should have been worth 9. Is that what you're
along
saying?
those
Yeah.
lines. Now, they played pretty well against a high-powered program and should feel pretty proud of what they accomplished this year.
Nice pep talk for the Golden Flashes.
Go,
just in case
Flashes.
they're watching. 3-2, and Call slashes it foul. We have quite the sticks and stone question for you today that we're going to get to after Alex Call hits.
It's not going to be one of those trick questions about, like, never facing a guy before, or
You
maybe
never know.
when I was in, playing winter ball one year.
Sure.
Yeah, I never played winter ball, so you can put up all the hitters you want.
Here's ball 4, nicely done by Alex Call to take the walk. So here is your sticks and stone question for today. Who are the 3 catchers who caught you the most?
Does that include pitches being caught, or?
Innings.
Oh,
By innings pitched. They're the innings. 380 and a third, 320 and 2/3, 149.
well, I'd have to say Rick Dempsey probably was up there. So we'll give him one of those slots. Can't decide if it would be the 380 or the 320.
Those are pretty close. We would
Yeah,
be okay with you.
I'll give you the
flip-flopping.
380. Let's see. 320. Where could it have possibly been? It would have to be with the White Sox. Just musing to myself.
No, it's actually not just to yourself.
Oh, it isn't?
Yeah, we can hear it.
Oh, okay. I thought that was in my head. So the voices are real, huh?
They sure are. Been
Okay.
real for a while.
All righty then.
The catcher's the guy that
Yogi
you
Berra
throw to.
was Yogi Berra one of them?
Was not Yogi Berra. Guy that would come out and say to you, hey, throw better, or nice job, or good win. You might remember those faces. It's a swing and a miss by Smith.
Okay.
They typically do also call what pitches you're going to throw.
Okay,
sometimes.
I'll go with Jim Essien.
Okay. That's 2.
And the third would be, jeez, I'm stumped. Can't remember who had caught 149 of my innings. I know I didn't wear out his hand.
Yeah, he was okay.
Don't know.
Really?
I'll have to. No.
You don't want to guess. You don't want to hazard a guess, as they say.
Hazard a guess. Nope.
There's no risk here. 1-2.
Steve Swisher?
Broken bat. Second base. And Smith is out. Let's take a look. As Call moves to second, here are the answers. Dempsey, Swisher, SDN.
That's like a Christmas miracle. Dempsey was the easy one. One-time All-Star Steve Swisher and Jim Essien. Jim Essien, by the way, had a terrific play. When I was at first and third in Oakland, he came running out and he said, if the guy from first runs, don't react. So I didn't know what he didn't want me to react to, but I figured, okay, that's my catcher, so I'll do that. So the guy from first runs, and I don't react, and I see Essien come up throwing. Then I saw what he was throwing, and it kind of spiraled into the infield.
So he's throwing something other than a ball.
Well, something that didn't get to second base. I had no idea what it was at the time, and it turned out to be his sponge that he kept in the glove. On the off chance it actually threw the ball over 80 miles an hour. And so when I went to pick up the sponge, knowing that the man at third, who was as befuddled as I was because he didn't move, Essien thought he would break down and then he would throw to third base and pick him off, which everybody was mystified looking for this thing fluttering in the infield. So as he came out, I said to him, Jim, I said, you tried to get him with the old sponge trick, huh? He says, yeah, it didn't work. I said, no, probably not wise to do that again. That was probably the best throw I've ever seen in the major leagues.
What color was it? Did it look anything like a ball at all?
No, well, it was,
Tan, brown?
yeah, kind of tannish.
So he thought he was going to bait the runner.
And the runner would come down as he had made that throw. Second base didn't work out that way.
Ball forward to Basabe. Sox have 2 on, 1 out for Peter. 5th walk today for the Sox.
Jim Essien also became a major league manager for a very short period of time.
As those catchers are so prone to do.
And Steve Swisher, of course, after his all-star turn, decided that he would raise an outfielder, and he did. Nick Swisher, who had a very good career and was, for a very short period of time, a member of the Chicago White Sox.
I think the kids out there learned something from Sticks and Stone today. The kids learned that it's okay to guess.
And you just might have some semblance of truth to the guess.
Or you might be dead on accurate,
Yeah.
as you were. That was well done. Tip of the cap to you.
This is getting a lot tougher. I mean, it used to be kind of, you just went for it, but now it's taking, I can't prepare for it because I don't know what's coming, but then you have to go back into what's left of my memory banks.
So you liked it when we would give you the name of a player and then you could
Yeah, guess
just
anything. Easily.
Well, you normally were right, by the way, when we played it straight.
Yeah. But
1 and 2 on Peter.
what you did do is get a very healthy respect for whoever it is back there catching you, because they've got to block pitches in the dirt. You would hope they would help you out neutralizing the running game. And as far as the pitches being called, every catcher had a different philosophy about what to do.
That's strike 3. Got him with a fastball. And 2 down. When you say every catcher had a different philosophy, what do you mean exactly?
When I first got to the major leagues, there was a catcher who had a hard time throwing out base runners, and so being a very young catcher, a rookie pitcher at this point, not a young catcher, but a rookie pitcher, he would call the game, and invariably with anybody with any speed at all, I would see 1, meaning a fastball. Well, pretty easy for hitters to hit fastballs, especially if they know that's the propensity for the catcher to try to protect against a stolen base. A lot of catchers like to go to a setup pitch on the 0-2 count instead of trying to wipe a hitter out. I mean, every catcher has a different philosophy and different way of doing things, and as a young pitcher, you tend to go with what the catcher wants. As a veteran pitcher, more times than not, you will perhaps disagree with the catcher and then suggest something else.
Jose Dinesino is the batter for the Sox here. Speaking of young catchers, I did a game about a week ago with Ben McDonald. You remember the pitcher?
I do, out of
Orioles?
LSU.
Who was actually signed in part by Ed Farmer, who is here today doing radio. But Ben McDonald told me this crazy story on the air about how when he was a young pitcher, he had a young catcher in the majors by the name of Chris Hoyles. And he was so young, and McDonald was so young, that they had difficulty figuring out what to throw. And at one point, Cal Ripken Jr. came up to them and said, "You guys are having a tough time figuring out what pitches to throw, aren't you?" And they said, yeah. And Cal evidently said, "All right, I'm going to do you a favor. I am going to call pitches from shortstop." So with his glove, he would signal what pitch to throw to Hoyles, who would look out at shortstop. As there goes the bat, and the ball goes somewhere else. So it's still 1-2 on Dinesino. I was just floored by that the shortstop would be calling pitches and that nobody in the majors knew that it was happening.
Well, it's a decent idea, especially with a guy that was destined for the Hall of Fame in Cal Ripken. And my philosophy was, as soon as they show me that column that says losing shortstop, I will allow him to call the game. But he usually says losing pitcher.
There's strike three, and Torres is out of a 2-walk jam here in the 6th. To the 7th we go. Sox trailing by 2.
Tonight at 10:30, get to know your 2017 White Sox, including a breakdown of the team's off-season transactions. Chuck Garfien hosts the White Sox season preview show presented by GMC.
It's coming soon.
It is that.
Monday is the opener. Sox and Tigers, 3:10 start time from Guaranteed Rate Field. Spangenberg, the bunt. Smith with a nice play.
Spangenberg runs pretty well and almost beat that play as it bounces high off the plate. Kevin Smith getting a good angle. Makes a good solid throw. The angle being the key. Wanted to push that one to third base. Didn't get it there and caught by an eyelash at first.
Yeah, as you see the runner going down the first base line, there's that extra second line. And we were talking about some of the rules stuff that we had a long discussion about today, and that first base line, that second line, doesn't have the meaning you would expect it to.
No, we can't call it the baseline because it truly isn't. However, we did find out it's been there for a while.
It's dropped into left by Will Myers, who gets a fourth at bat. And Schimpf will hit with 1 on, 1 out, and that'll be it for Myers.
He will depart this one.
You've been tweeting at the folks, huh? I just looked.
I have been.
Somebody tweeted they wanted you to have a little bit of a puffier hairdo than you currently have, and your response was that you had it in 1976 and there's not enough hair these days.
Right, that was actually a picture of Coco Crisp. And yeah, I found that it was good for 1976.
What were y'all doing back then?
I was in the process of trying to get over a rotator cuff injury, so it was not my favorite year in the game.
So you grew your hair out?
Well, I had nothing else to do. I happened to have it, and I figured, you know, it wasn't like going to the gym every day or anything along those lines.
You just have to grow it.
Let's grow it.
You stand there and there's more hair.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. It's dedication. Ty France, the pinch runner, has stolen second base.
Takes a look back to see if there's contact. There is not, and Kevin Smith cannot get the throw off.
Two and one on Schimpf. Now 3-1.
That's a nice pitch there. Give it to him again.
France at second, 3-1. And now a discussion at the mound between Smith and Holmberg.
Just want to get the sign straight because this is the first time there's been a runner at second that Holmberg actually put on himself.
We have a new record to share with you.
We do. I think it's pretty exciting.
After the 3-1 from Holmberg. That is ball 4. Record attendance at Camelback Ranch this year. 257,609 the total, and the 2 millionth fan walked through. No word on whether or not one of those is the 2 millionth fan.
Well, not a whole lot of them here today. The game started early, and it is, for the White Sox at least, the end of the Arizona portion of the spring schedule.
Grounded through the left side. France around third, and he scores. It is 9-6 Padres.
Takes that high fastball through the left side.
So the new catcher, Torrens, with an RBI single. Pinch runner coming in for Schimpf. That's Boomer White. Now Bethancourt pinch hitting for Hedges as the Padres go to the second unit. Christian Bethancourt takes ball one. Ball, no strikes. White at second, Torrens at first, and there is a strike. 1-1. Hedges finishes 3 for 3 with 4 RBIs, 2 homers, and a single as well.
4,003 today. That's the attendance.
Holmberg now having some trouble finding the zone very late in this outing, moving up toward 45 pitches.
And the bullpen up and going for the Sox, just in case.
Is that who's warming up? Just in case?
I remember Justin. Pretty good stuff.
Turned out to be a wonderful attorney.
Before he hurt himself.
Good news was he had that plan B. Popped foul. 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes to Bethancourt, who has been both pitching and catching this spring.
Not a real easy combination in professional baseball. But maybe at 1 for 12 this spring, he decided that he's got to have an option.
That is ball 4, and the bases are loaded for the Padres here in the 7th.
You got to mention to the man at second that it's time to move to third.
Boomer White, pinch running.
You can only spend so long at second base. Boomer.
The rare force play on a walk.
Well, we figured eventually he would get down there.
So bases loaded, 1 out, and Blash will bat. Saw Alex Katz warming up in the Sox bullpen. He was over at the World Baseball Classic with the upstart Team Israel.
Did pretty well. Won their first 4 before finally being eliminated. We're in a very tough bracket.
One strike on Blash. Big shift on against him with the pull side loaded with defenders. Bases are loaded as well. 3 on the bases, 3 defending left of second base. And a swing and a miss by Blash, who is 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Seven homers this spring for Jabari Blash.
The power not in question. The contact elusive at times.
1-2. Breaking ball right back to Holmberg. Easy does it. Score it. 1, 2, 3. Double play for the Sox, and the Padres only get 1 in the inning. Follow White Sox baseball live with the MLB.com at Bat mobile app. Stay connected to the game's best players all season long with Game Day, live game video highlights, radio broadcast stats, news, and more. Download MLB.com at Bat today. It's your #1 app for live baseball. Joker's wild out of the Padres bullpen, Steve.
We've got Barry Enright coming in. Pitched last year in Tijuana. Pretty good numbers overall. Remember him in the major leagues trying to fight his way back in. White stays in the game at third, France at first.
Surprising that Barry Enright wouldn't wear 21.
Okay, and that would be
fitting for him. Barry Enright Productions created the game show 21.
really. Wow. Good show.
Not exactly the most above-board television program that's ever been created. However, it's just a small footnote in the history of game shows. Robbins the batter, and now a ball and a strike. Jose Abreu is on deck as Robbins pops this up. White in pursuit and no play. It's into row one.
And a very industrious Padre fan searching high and low for the baseball. And I think he might have come away with it.
Quick drink to wash it down.
Warm day, a lot of work. And if he's very fast, he'll have another one.
Have to be real fast
He'd
after
have to trot out onto the concourse.
And a young fan ends up with the baseball. A Wildcat fan. Might have been a member of Chris Collins' backcourt.
Pretty good year for them overall.
Indeed. First time ever to the old basketball tournament.
Yeah, very exciting.
Robbins to right field. Cowgill after it, and that ball's over his head off the wall. So Mason Robbins with a leadoff double here in the seventh.
Cowgill actually took a step in before realizing that ball was going to pick up steam as it went over his head. Got a low slider. And Cowgill didn't play it as well as he could have. Probably very little chance to get this one anyway, as this ball, like so many before it today, just keeps on going. That one, however, did stay in the park.
A lot of homers in this game. Abreu, 3-run shot. Saladino, a solo homer. Delmonico, a 2-run homer. That's not to say anything about the Padres' power that they've flashed. Abreu, one more at bat. And ball one. Abreu to left field, and the center fielder tracks it down, so Jankowski is over, and Robbins into third.
This heads up base running by Robbins as he tagged up anyway. He was going to score if this ball gets down, and if it goes out of the park, of course, then it's a trot around the bases, but Jankowski hauls it in just before the track.
That is no longer Jankowski, by the way. I need to correct myself.
Okay.
We'll get you who made the play. Somebody did. It was a wonderful play.
Terrific play.
Foul ball off the bat of Eddie Alvarez. a strike. Glendale, Arizona, our home for March. Sox and Padres in the Cactus League finale. It's a strike on the inside third, 1-2 for Alvarez.
Eddie thought that one was a bit inside. Like Felix thought it was good enough.
Alvarez yanks it foul. Still 1-2. Ball and 2 strikes for Alvarez. That one gets away. Here comes Robbins, and it is 9-7.
That's one that Taryn probably should have been able to corral, but didn't. To me, that looks like a pass ball, but then I think everyone that gets away is a pass ball. It was indeed a pass ball.
So that will, for now, go as an unearned run against Enright. And still 2-2 on Alvarez, who walked back in the 5th. Another foul ball. And a nice catch by Nicky Delmonico in the on-deck circle.
Two breaking balls in a row, both fouled off as Alvarez hanging tough.
Heading to center field and down in front of Cordoba for a one-out single. So now the tying runs at the plate with a guy who can send one a long way.
Good battle. Fouled off some good breaking balls before finally getting a fastball, dumping it into center field.
So Alvarez visits France over at first. And Delmonico takes a strike. Two-run homer back in the third for Nicky Delmonico. Alvarez back after being caught stealing last time on. He walked in the 5th and was thrown out trying to steal second base before a Delmonico fly out to center. Into left field, Bethencourt, the former catcher, is there to make the grab for out number 2. Here's Alex Call trying to prolong the rally for the Sox. Second pro year for Alex Call, a first-team All-American last year at Ball State. This is out of play. See the news that Adrian Beltre might be a little dinged up to start the year.
He's had periodically over the last couple of years, he's had some calf issues that keep plaguing him, and he's got it again, although they say they don't anticipate it being a prolonged inactivity situation. Anytime an older player has some leg injuries, it's kind of a problem, especially with the defensive prowess of Beltre. However, to take some of the pressure off the leg, they probably will use him as a DH every now and then. But what a great player he's been over the years.
Pitch to call is over for a strike. In terms of the active home run leaders in baseball, Adrian Beltre is third with 445. He's one short of Miguel Cabrera for second place active, and Albert Pujols by far is number one in terms of active players at 591. Chase Utley, 15th active. As down goes Call for strike three. Sox get a run on the double and pass ball. It's 9-7 after 7. Join the White Sox team by becoming a member of the free WhiteSox.com Blacklist. Get the latest breaking news, see the latest video features, enjoy special ticket offers, and more. Visit WhiteSox.com/blacklist to register today.
That young man just threw it right into the catcher's glove.
New pitcher for the Sox is Alex Katz out of the bullpen.
Last year in the minor leagues, fine ERA of 3.27. He appeared in 34 games. There you look at the rest of the numbers. More strikeouts than innings pitched is good. Probably like to improve on the 24 walks, but overall, a pretty solid season with left-handers hitting just .203 against Alex.
He's a young fan trying to figure out a way onto the field.
And why is this gigantic fence in my way?
Can you imagine how big that fence looks?
Yes, pretty much as it does to you and I. Very tall.
Yeah, but we could get over the fence if we wanted to. It would be a chore.
That would be a stretch. We might be able to do it by the beginning of next spring.
With help. New catcher is Zach Collins. He will receive Katz, and then Abreu is out Danny Hayes into first base. So no starters remain for the White Sox in this Cactus League finale.
Luis Sardinez getting an at-bat. He had a battle at shortstop this spring, and there's a whole lot of folks that felt that it was his to lose, and he was able to do that, unfortunately for him. Ibar, the veteran, taking the spot away, it appears, and Sardinius probably uses a utility man.
One and one from Katz is outside. I think you were just delivered the loudest soft drink in American history.
Oh, that's right. These things do have a tendency to do that.
That's low from Katz. 3 balls and a strike. St. John's alum Alex Katz, who pitched, as we said, for Team Israel, and he was in the game during the final game of the World Baseball Classic for the team in that loss to Japan. Sardinius with the leadoff single. There's a story in the New York Times about Team Israel, and Alex Katz unknowingly, essentially, helped recruit for the team. He had posted on Twitter that he would play for the team, and then Danny Barawa, another former St. John's player, contacted Alex Katz and said, how can I get involved with the team? He made the team, showed proof that his mother had the requisite lineage, and so Katz was a de facto recruiter for Team Israel.
They were looking for that kind of lineage from Mike Trout, but couldn't find it, so he became ineligible to play for the team, which would have been really good.
Yeah, you know, one of those ringers can load up on. Ball and a strike from Katz to the Padres center fielder, Cordoba. Yeah, there's a strike. Every person we've talked to that's been involved with the World Baseball Classic has said how wonderful it is to play for your country, whatever that country may be that you identify most with.
Well, I certainly believe, as you saw some of the highlights from all of the games and got the crowd shots.
There's strike 3. Katz with his first strikeout, 1 down.
So many of the players were terribly excited to play and represent their home countries, and I think the feeling of it, I think Nate Jones talked about it, where they were chanting USA, USA with the final game at Dodger Stadium. Just sends chills up your spine. I mean, there's something different representing the baseball team you play for as a professional as opposed to representing your country in any event.
Runners off and runners there. It's a stolen base for Sardinius with 1 out in the 8th.
Pretty good jump, and that one stolen on Katz. Not on the catcher.
Collins in his first couple batters in this game behind the plate, coming in cold off the bench.
He's got an opportunity late in a whole lot of games to get some play that he wouldn't normally have gotten.
Ricky Renteria was pretty complimentary about Zach Collins and just the way he received the ball. He thought maybe he'd stab at the ball more with his lack of at least comparative opportunity to play the position as opposed to a major league veteran. And Ricky said he was pretty impressed with the way Collins softly catches the ball.
I think we talked about that the first time that he came in a spring game. Was the object of any catcher is to absorb the baseball, not go out and get it. And Collins is able to do that very well. So it would appear that, like so many of the scouting reports who said that he can indeed catch the major leagues, he's going to be able to do that. He's going to get better. They're going to work with him on a number of different things, but just the raw tools, besides the power, they knew that's the reason why he was drafted in the first round. But the power is there, and the question was, would he be able to catch in the major leagues? It appears that he will be. But if you got big power and you're a catcher, what a tremendous advantage that is.
2-2 on Cowgill. Katz gets a ground ball to second base, and there is out number 2. Well, there's one guy left for the Padres in terms of the regulars, the starters, and it's Corey Spangenberg, the second baseman.
Coincidentally looking for his first hit to go with that stolen base.
Sardinas now at third, and Katz to Spangenberg with ball number 1. First round pick 6 years ago, Corey Spangenberg. Katz sounded like he clipped it, and the inning's over. Sardinas stranded 9-7.
Celebrate the Chopping Block's 20th anniversary with cooking classes for all skill levels. They'll get you cooking, so visit thechoppingblock.com for more info. Now there is some folks who don't need the chopping block. They've got the kielbasa block.
Doesn't exactly roll off the tongue the same way.
No, but it's a good thought.
Barry Enright trying to keep the lead for San Diego as the Sox take their swings with Zach Collins leading off here in the 8th. Ball to strike.
It's going to serve Zach very well is the fact that as well as the big power, he's got an exceptional eye. Good command of the strike zone, which probably comes from catching so many of them.
Shows it there, 2-1. Two and two. Sox will play Friday in Milwaukee. 7:10 start time, then 1:10 on Saturday. We'll have that game on CSN Chicago. Hope you can join us for that. Collins checked his swing. And now 3-2. Three and two. Fouled away. Here's the beginning of 2017 for the White Sox.
The Tigers in town. There's the off day after opening day, and then the Minnesota Twins provide the opposition before the first road trip with Cleveland and the Twins. You can also tack on the New York Yankees to the end of that road trip if you were to go down that far. So a base on balls, making the Collins family very happy.
Zach trying to help the Sox make a comeback here. Basabe will bat. Strike one. Luis Basabe, who came over in the trade for Chris Sale from Boston.
He's going to forever be known as, well, the answer to a trivia question. Who was the other guy in the Chris Sale deal? It was Luis Basabe, who's got a chance to be pretty good. He's got very good skills.
Could be a couple other guys in that deal. And ball one. Saw a little bit of Michael Kopech
Yes,
this
we
spring. The hard-throwing right-hander.
Last time we saw him, he was pretty good. 5 strikeouts in 2 innings.
Big swing, and that'll do it for Basabe. Collins back safely to first. 1 out.
We saw Yoan Moncada having a pretty good spring, showing power from both sides of the plate. And he put a charge into the ball down here. Pretty impressive for being sent out.
Very likely to start the season in AAA. If I were a Sox fan right now, I'd take a road trip to Charlotte.
Boy, there's lots of talent down there, both on the hill and in the batter's box.
Figure Zach Birdie.
Yeah, some great young arms.
See how the roster shakes down the next couple days. Sox don't have to make those very final decisions until just before Monday at 3:10, but certainly it's starting to come into focus who's going to join the team going north. Two and 0 from Enright to Peter.
And for most teams, these are the most difficult of decisions because your front office is sitting there trying to get all the information they can. They know about the ability of players at this point. You factor in the health of a few of your players and then figure out who's going to be the 25 that heads north with you. Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to stay that way for a while. Just means that you've made it out of spring training on the roster, and then you see what happens, because some guys know that they're taking the spot of a guy who's not injured all that badly, and he's going to be back in the not too distant future. So
like
you
Carlos
see,
Rodon.
yeah, you see how much playing time you can get in the meantime. But for the guys who have never made the major leagues, that get to make the major leagues because of an injury, the one thing that they will take with them, regardless of what happens the rest of the way, is they were on a major league roster. They did play with a major league team.
Especially breaking camp. There's something nice to have made the team out of camp.
One of the worst things that I saw with
strike two
with a pitcher who happened to be a friend of mine was being assured he had made the team. He had sent his wife ahead with all their things, their furniture, their clothing, to Chicago. He was taken off the team plane because a deal was made, and he did not make the team. He was sent down to AAA, had to contact his wife at the first place that she stopped, turn the car around, and head to the AAA city.
Could have done that a little sooner.
Yeah, they didn't know, the trade.
Peter deep to left field. That's way back there, and we are tied.
Opposite field blast. Setting the stage, at least, for a 13 or 14 inning affair. This one into the bullpen, and a bomb. Enright throws a fastball out away, and Peter puts a charge into it.
That ball was crushed by Jake Peter, who hit all of 6 home runs last year between AA and AAA.
If it could always be Arizona, where the ball travels long distances. Today, especially with the wind blowing out, we've seen some bombs.
So here is Jose Vinicio, whose name was previously presented as Dinesino, which was very curious because I had never heard of a Jose Dinesino in Sox camp, and there's a reason for it.
But you never really know who's going to show up for the final game.
His name's actually now Yolmer.
Yolmer Dinesino? Great. Proud member of the Dinesino family.
Everybody's changed their name. It's the new fad in Sox camp. Sometimes it happens in game. We file the paperwork. 2 down for Mason Robbins. And there is strike one. Robbins past second base, and a diving Chris Baker. Sox rally continues with 2 out.
Chris Baker inserted in the game because there is a little known rule late in spring training where nobody who starts the game can actually end the game.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we have fulfilled that requirement now.
Yeah. And Spangenberg, who was in the game the entire way before giving way to Baker, now they have cleared the decks of starting players.
It's left to Danny Hayes, who just the other day hit a game-winning grand slam. He is in line to give the Sox the lead with an extra base hit here in the 8th. Ball 1. Here's another guy who's impressed this spring.
I think he's shown he can hit the ball a long way, and he's also shown that he's just a pretty good hitter. So with the Sox looking for, certainly not full-time DH, because we don't think that they're going to find that, but he's in certainly the mix when you look at fairly consequential bats you'd like to see when they head north.
It was 55 games last year because of a groin injury in AAA. 10 homers in 55 games. 10 homers in 184 at-bats.
It's pretty impressive. That pencils out over the course of a year to a very, very strong year.
And yes, Charlotte is a hitter's park, but still that rate is impressive. 2-1. Jake Peter has tied the game with a 2-run homer with 1 out in this 8th inning. You can't have the last game of spring training end in a tie.
I say play it out.
You do?
Yeah, even if it's 5, 6 o'clock. Because we are not on that flight back tonight. I don't think they're going to play this one too long.
I knew there was the glimmer of self-interest in the development of that sentence. 2-2 on Hayes. Robbins at first, 2 out, 2-2 from Enright. And that's strike 3. Beautifully planted fastball to retire the side. But we are tied going to the 9th here in Glendale. Because of this, Jake Peter opposite way, 2-run shot. 9-12-1 both ways. Nine into the 9th. 9-12-1 for each team this lovely Glendale afternoon. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone, our entire crew. Thanks for joining us for this finale in the Cactus League, wherever you may be watching from, whether it's the outfield near Nelly or Harold, or at home or work if you're working late. Thanks for stopping by. Just 5 days until the regular season opens on 35th Street.
It's always something exciting about opening day. Doesn't matter where you're playing it. And I think everybody is very hopeful about the coming season, not only from a personal standpoint, from some team standpoint. And even though a whole lot of people realize that this is in the middle of a rebuilding situation for the White Sox, doesn't diminish the intensity with which they go in and try to win each and every game. And then stranger things have happened in the major leagues.
Yeah, quite a few of the pieces from last year, yes, Sale's gone, Eaton's gone, quite a few of the pieces from last year are still around. So who knows how this thing's going to look at the beginning of the year.
Every team just makes a concerted effort to get off to a good start. And we all know the start last year, 23-10, didn't work out particularly well because of a bullpen that was used quite a bit without the off days to replenish that pen. And as things fell apart for the bullpen, so did it for the team. But getting off to a start like that in a year where it's not really guaranteed. I mean, the Indians, yes, they look by far best team in the division, but they've had a lot of injuries early. So Ricky Renteria says that is enough. And he will call to the bullpen for yet another of the Sox pitchers. It is Burgos coming into the game, and we'll step out and be back after these messages. in to try to finish it up. That's last year in the minor leagues. Was a starting pitcher a good portion of the time. Opponent's hitting 290, which is a higher number than he would like. The oddity is the right-handers hit him better than the left-handers. And he inherits the go-ahead run at first base.
It's a pinch runner, Aldemar Burgos, who has pinch run for Ty France, who was in for Will Myers, who started the game. So here is Charles Boomer White. One on, nobody out, and a throw on Burgos.
You have to figure when a guy comes in the game representing the go-ahead run and he's asked to pinch run late that he's got some speed.
Time called before anything can get underway. Burgos was caught stealing 12 times last year, stole 6.
That was deceiving though, because he ran in tough luck.
Well, he's a poor criminal.
Ooh.
That's overall for his career, I should say. 6 steals, 12 caught stealing. 6 out of 18.
Yikes. That'll shut down a running game all by itself.
There he goes. And he is safe. Ball popped free.
Good throw, gets him. This is a straight steal. He never looked back for contact. And the throw, a one-hopper, not handled. Been a tough play to handle.
So you're right, he has speed. He just picked some poor times with which to apply it to the game of baseball.
Normally when they were watering down the first base area.
The old quicksand at first trick. It's his first of the spring.
Not surprising with those numbers he's piled up in the minor leagues.
It's a young career.
Michelle Godwin has presented us with the ceremonial, I think this might be a mint of some sort at the end. Yours has antihistamines in it, however.
Let's see. Let's see if I stop sneezing after I eat the mint. Ground ball. Alvarez couldn't find the reins, and 2 on.
It'll be E6. Burgos cannot advance.
So, 2 on, nobody out. And the Padres catcher to the plate. San Diego trying to mount a rally here in the 9th. Sox got a 2-run homer in the home 8th to tie the game.
The question is, does Andy Green want a bunt?
Well, all things equal, you bunt and you do it successfully. You have the lead run at third, and there is the bunt shown, and a ball taken. It's off Collins' glove, and nowhere to go for Burgos.
We'll take another look. He wants to lay it down, preferably to third on the curveball. He pulls the bat back, and that ball trickles away.
some level of distraction for the catcher there with the bunt. Something for Zach Collins to get used to as he plays more Major League Baseball. Two and 0.
Catchers don't particularly care for a guy that doesn't know how to bunt well, because inordinate amount of times you foul it off, and when you do, if you're bunting, it goes straight back and it's going to get a good piece of the catcher. So they just assume the guys that squared a bunt actually know how to do it.
Popped it up, back of home. Collins has no play. And a visit to the net.
Drops the head of the bat. That's not real good technique, and when you drop the head of the bat, you're going to pop the ball straight up. By the time Zach could locate where it was too late. So what usually happens is, on a sign from the dugout, whoever's playing third gives signs to the infield, but goes up and verbally tells the pitcher which way to break, whether it's toward the line or straight forward.
Throw to second. And safe.
Yeah, one of the variations of the wheel play is the shortstop breaking toward third, only to see the second baseman coming in back of the runner. There's some other aspects of this. Heads up base running play.
So 2 and 1 it remains. First and second, nobody out. This bunt will end up at first from the hand of Collins. Looked like there was a chance that would spin foul. Zach decided to play it.
Yeah, it might, but once it hits the grass and takes a lot of spin off the ball, you can't really wait around to see if it's going to trickle foul. Maybe with nobody on, it would probably be the play. But with runners at second and third, you might as well not take the chance. They're presenting you with the out. You might as well get it. That'll bring the infield in at all four positions.
Bethancourt, the batter. Do you intentionally walk him and leave the double play in order?
During the season, I would say yes. Now, nah, let him go.
Strike one. Checked his swing, and he did go. 2 strikes.
High leg kick, cannot check his swing. The appeal to first, they said nope. If Zach calls for breaking ball down, he's going to have to block it. And you prefer it to a face-high fastball, which is easier to hit in the air.
Swing and a miss. Downstairs. Strike 3. 2 down.
Good curveball by Lear. Bethancourt straight over the top of it. So well placed on a wipeout curveball.
Suddenly that promising rally now has 2 outs on the board. And here is Dusty Coleman hitting in the 7 spot. Strike 1 from Robinson Lear in his 6th season now in the Sox organization. Just celebrated a birthday 16 days ago. Tight fastball, strike 2.
A couple of good fastballs on the outer third, and he's got Dusty talking to himself. Now one wipeout curveball, and Dusty will call it a day. think he's calling for a high fastball.
0-2. Close pitch.
Not a bad effort. Probably wanted up a little bit higher than it was, but just off the outside corner.
Ball and 2 strikes, 2 down, tie game. Breaking ball, got him. Lair pitches around Peril in the 9th, and the Sox can win it in the home half after a visit from Uncle Charlie, tied at 9. Bottom of the 9th, and the Padres have a new pitcher in a game that we think would end in a tie if the Sox wouldn't score here.
Yeah, I don't think they want to go deeper as far as the pitching is concerned on this getaway, Jay. And so Hung-Chi Kuo comes into the game. This is just his 2nd appearance in spring training. He appears, the way that I see it, primed for a loss. That would take extra innings out of the equation. Although I don't believe they'll be in the equation anyway.
That wouldn't be what you'd think either manager would want.
At this point, you're down deep into the extra guys you brought along just in case you wind up in a 9-9 game.
He was warming earlier.
Just in case?
Uh-huh.
He's pretty good.
So Eddie Alvarez first for the Sox, then Nicky Delmonico and Alex Call, the scheduled hitters. Eddie trying to send the Sox back home from Arizona with one final walk-off win. Strike 1 from Kuo. Oh, and 2.
Again, when you don't lay down the bunt, it usually caroms off the catcher, and that's what happened. Thinking about bunting his way on. Ooh, yes. Put that one in play. Eddie, put that one in play.
Tapper to third. White, tough play. He got him.
Turned out to be a good play for Boomer White. Charged this ball aggressively, and he comes in. Takes probably more steps than he would like. Eddie did not get out of the box all that quickly. It's thrown out at first base.
One down for Delmonico, whose 2-run homer in the third gave the Sox a 6-3 lead. Padres scored 5 in the fourth to take a 7-6 lead. The Sox have come back with a run in the 7th and 2 more in the 8th. Quo to Delmonico. High, 2-0. Padres are still utilizing a little bit of a shift on the infield to the pull side. That's how you know shifts have become real prevalent in the game. It's the 9th inning of the last spring training game, and there's still one on.
And you're still shifting. Oh, that's okay. It's going to change things around, especially, and probably what's on the mind of Green would be that Delmonico looking to pull the ball in this situation, so he's playing Sardinius up the middle.
Not close. Ball 4. Winning run at first base. Seventh walk today for Sox hitters. All from the 5 spot down in the order.
A lot of production out of 1, 3, and 4 in the batting order today. Although those spots occupied by a number of different fellows.
Top spot, Tyler Saladino had a solo homer in the first. Jake Peter replaced him. A 2-run game-tying homer last inning. Strike 1 to Alex Call. Collins would be next, Basabe to follow. The second-year White Sox player Alex Call, drafted last year in the 3rd round, has to come up with a game winner on the last day in Arizona. Delmonico was running. It's now 1-2.
Actually, kind of a nice job knowing the runner's going. You're trying to protect him, and Call used an inside-out swing. Able to get it to the right side on a pitch that was up and in. Tough pitch to handle, but he realized he had to protect. He's trying all the way to take that ball to the right side. That is good situational hitting. Even late in the ball game, a game that doesn't mean much.
1-2. Breaking ball, laced foul. One-two. Broken bat grounder to third. It gets by Boomer White. Delmonico around second, going for third. Alex Call into second base behind the play.
But look, this is late in the ball game, and a game that in the grand scheme of things is meaningless, but you got to get that throw into second base, because that keeps the double play in order and potentially gives you a double play to get out of the inning and keep the game alive. But by getting this ball into third, you let Call go to second base, taking the force out and the double play out of the equation. So not a heads-up play. And again, you want to teach winning baseball every chance you get. That's not an example of it, because now the outfield has to come in.
They could have had the second out on Alex Call at second base, too.
If he was going to go, I have a feeling, well, he might have pulled up. If the guy was going to go to second all the way, maybe he pulls up.
Strike for Collins. Second and third, 1 out. Winning run over at third with Nicky Delmonico.
Be a nice way to end the Arizona portion of the spring with the game-winning run batted in. However, Zach Collins is able to do that.
Everybody in for San Diego. 1 strike pitch off the plate. The Miami product, Zach Collins, in search of a game-winning finale in Arizona. Missed his spot big time. 2-1.
He also, I believe, crossed his catcher up. Because Terens is going out there to talk with him. It looked like he threw him a screwball or a straight change. He wasn't looking for that, as you can see. He really had to fight that ball at the end. He's looking for a breaking ball low and away. He got a screwball, inner portion.
2 balls and a strike. Off the plate, 3-1. Zach Collins' keen eye continues to work against Quo. Three and 1. Way inside, bases loaded. Eighth walk for Sox hitters today. And now it's up to part of the haul from Boston for Chris Sale, Luis Alexander Basabe, to have the game winner.
So it appears they're going to play with 5 infielders, 2 outfielders. I want to make sure you know how to execute this aspect because, you know.
So it's Cordoba coming with the new glove.
And this is going to be a late cliche of the day.
Oh boy.
Yes, it's never too late to work on a 5-man infield.
It's a rare cliche.
It's never too late.
Oh, never too late.
Yes.
Yeah.
First part of that, and then you can insert whatever.
I see.
In this case, the 5-man infield insertion.
3 left of second base, and strike 1 to Basabe. Hit it to center.
Doesn't appear to be a lot of coverage out there, does it?
Oh, 1. 0-2. Jake Peters on deck. He's the guy that put the Sox into a tie last inning. Two strikes. Quo to Basabe. Breaking ball got him.
And now we'll have to change gloves again because it's never too late to move out of the 5-man infield back to the traditional 4-man infield.
So Jake Peters came up in a 9-7 score with 1 out in the 8th and bashed a 2-run homer, scoring Collins and putting us in this final opportunity. It's either going to be a win or a tie for the Sox based on what Jake Peters does. You'd think.
I would think that that would be the case with nobody loosening in either pen.
Can't end spring training in a tie. Got to get a win here, right?
It's just ending the Arizona portion of spring training.
It's a good qualifier. Important to note.
Yes.
So you could end this portion in a tie.
Sure.
And it would feel okay.
And then move on to Milwaukee and just make sure you finish those games so we don't have to stay there for any length of time. Oh, and 1 on Peters.
0-2.
Well, got away with a hanging breaking ball that time. That one just kind of rolled up there, but unfortunately, Jake fouled it straight back.
2 strikes, 2 out, 9-9 tie. Strike 3. We assume that's it.
And that, as they say, is it.
So the Padres, I don't know what Clo gets in the box score for that. You can't get a save, but you certainly should get something for keeping it a tie.
It's a hearty handshake, and
A laurel, too?
see you later.
So the Sox leave them loaded, and 9-9, the tie, is the end of the Arizona portion of spring training.
It is that. It was certainly fun down here, and look forward to that finale of spring training, which is the final game in Milwaukee. I will see you there.
Sounds great. See you then. 9-9 tie is your final score from Arizona today. For our director, Jim Angio, our producer, Michelle Godwin, associate producer, Chris Kampka, our stat man, Bill Brophy, tech manager, Mark Harper, and the executive producer, Jim Corno Jr., and our entire crew, which did such a fantastic job out here in Arizona. He's Steve Stone. I'm Jason Benetti. We say so long from Glendale. You've been watching Chicago White Sox baseball on CSN Chicago. Talk to you from Milwaukee on Saturday.